Hey folks, well, I got a box in the mail. It's not RC related or anything like that. It's something new I'm getting into. It's kind of getting back to my roots, I guess you could say. Hopefully some of you will find it interesting, but you probably don't know this, but by trade, or I guess by schooling, I'm an electronics engineering technologist. Electronics engineer. Technologist is kind of a middle of the road. It was a 2-year course that I took at my technical college. You can be a technician, which is 1 year, which just teaches you how to fix stuff. Then there's an engineer, which teaches you just how to design stuff, but the technologist teaches you both. So I want to get back to my roots, and one of the things I found interesting is what's in this box. Now, it's not an unboxing because I've already opened it and played with it, but I threw it all back in the box so you can kind of see what's in here. So let's crack this open and show you. Got this off of Amazon for quite a reasonable price. Now you can see by looking at this, it's a bunch of electronics. Components of some sort. I'll show you what's in the top. There's like a little, this is called a breadboard. This is a mini breadboard. There's, I'm not going to go into details, but this allows you to put electronic components in it to hook it up with wires and stuff like that sort of thing. So, and this is on what's called a shield for another device, say LCD display. It's got no header pins on it, but I'll have to solder that on. It's a parallel display as opposed to a serial display. A bunch of electronic components, resistors in here, 3 different values, 10K, 1K, and I think 330 ohms if I'm not mistaken. And there's clear bright LEDs. I think they're supposed to be red, yellow, and blue. A remote. Special for MP3 it says, but it's just a standard remote, and some LED matrices. This is your kind of your old school 8 character displays in a 4 character unit, a couple single character units, and this is a LED matrix where you can light up all the dots separately or in some sort of design, kind of like a LED light bright, I guess you could say. A variable resistor, potentiometer is what this is called. This, you can tell by looking, I don't know if you can see it on there or not with my poor lighting down here, but this is a 50 kilo ohm potentiometer, so it varies up to 50 kilo ohms. Whole bunch of other goodies in here. I'm not going to take them out, but I'll tell you what's in here. There's a couple of these big black things are called piezo elements. They're like the little buzzers and stuff, the higher pitched buzzers you see in that. There's a couple of black capacitors. There's an infrared receiver to go along with the transmitter. And I think this is also an IR transmitter. There's 3, it's hard to really see in there, but these things are called photocells. They vary, they're photoresistors, I guess you could say. They vary their resistance with the light that's touching them. I think the resistance goes down the more light that touches them. Some baby little push buttons, and there's also one thing that looks, if I can get to it, it looks like a transistor based on its shape, but it's not actually a transistor, it's a temperature sensor. This is a 3-color LED mounted on a board, so it's, if you can see, probably can't see because of the lighting. I don't know if my camera will focus, but it's red, green, and blur. Thank you, China. It should be blue. So depending on which pin gets a signal, it'll light up that color accordingly. This is some logic. It's a 74HC595, which is a shift register. I won't go into details, but it's binary electronics. And this is the header that you would solder into here so that you could stick this on a breadboard. You stick down onto that in order to run it. So that's what's in the top layer. So let's throw all these back in here, and we'll get to the meat and potatoes of this kit, which is down below. Because you're probably thinking, well, what good's all these electronic components? What are you going to do with them? Some of you may already know, but this isn't new stuff. It's been around for a while, but so this comes off. There you go, our USB cable to interface. Here's a large breadboard, or a larger breadboard. Same idea as this, as far as the pins go. There's a positive and negative rail. These connections are all connected together, all down here for the plus and for the minus, both sides, so I can supply power. And then these ones are, there's a break in the middle. It's hard to see, I know the lighting down here is not great there. You can probably see better now that way. So you got your positive, which are all connected, your negative, which are all connected, both sides. And I don't know if you can see the letters down there, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, 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 blah. And instead of these rows or columns being connected, this row is all connected, this row, and so on. And then it breaks in the middle, so even though these rows line up, this row is separate from this row. So that allows you to plug a bunch more components on for prototyping, connect them all together. And they give you a bunch of little jumper wires and that to be able to do that. So you just plug it in there, and then that has a connection. Then there's a battery pack to power what else is in here. Here's another shield, as it's called. And this is actually for controlling motors, and if you can see, you won't be able to see because of the lighting. It says here 2 servo motors plus 2 steppers, or 4 just DC motors. So these chips can control DC motor. And finally, this is the main thing. This is all a kit to support what's in here to allow you to do projects. Now this is I shouldn't say a knockoff, a clone of an open source board, so you can't start going and saying, oh, China copied this or that, because it's open source and it is what it is. So this is a little micro controller board, not a microprocessor, but a controller board. The actual brain of it, I'll hold it up back here. You can't see because of the light. If I hold it at the right angle, that's the actual microprocessor right there. Microcontroller. Listen to my own. What that does is it contains, it's an Atmel, I think it's an Atmel 328P. I don't remember the exact specs, but it's this little thing has a CPU in it, microprocessor, and it's got some addressing stuff. It's got 32K of memory plus another certain amount of EEPROM style memory for holding programs and bootloader and that. But that's the brains, and all this is the support stuff. So there's another chip on here, and that's just a conversion to allow you to connect to your computer via a USB to program it. And it's got all these header pins. Just going to get the monitor back on, give me a little more light. It's got these header pins along here, which connects to all the address lines, digital address lines, analog address lines, and so on. But this particular board also gives you this style of connectors to do the same thing, which is kind of nice, different from the actual Arduino. It's called an Arduino, I should mention that. Well, this is an Arduino compatible board. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, I think. I'll just show you how these shields work. I'll show you the prototyping one. You have these pins on the bottom, and you have these sockets here, and it just allows you to slap that right on top. and get all the connections through. So it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. If you do a YouTube search now, you'll find lots of information on Arduino and all sorts of stuff that people do with it. Now I've already, the base program that came in this is like a blinks and LED, but that's I've taken that out and I've done a different program, so I will wire this up and just show you what it does. So I'm going to need a few components, some LEDs and some resistors and some jumper wires, so I'll wire this all up and you'll see what it does. And there you go, there's the basic circuit. Like I say, the program's already in there, and it's on my other laptop, so I can't show you the code. It's only like 12 lines of code. So the LEDs are hooked up in line in series with these 1K resistors. The 1K resistors are there to limit the current that flows through the LEDs and limits the current the LEDs pull from the Arduino board, because I think the outputs on the Arduino are only good for 40, 50 milliamps, something like that. So now I'm just going to plug this in and you'll see the basic program that I kind of wrote. I took an existing one and I modified it slightly, but very straightforward. See if I got it wired up right. You'll see the Arduino boot up and then the program will run. There it boots. There you go. Sequential flashing LEDs, whether you can see that or not. Let me turn this off. There you go. Kind of like any of you in the States now, you remember the old TV show Knight Rider. Well, there you go. There's some Knight Rider LEDs. So that was a basic one. I've got some more sensors on order. I got some ideas in my head on some stuff to do. So yeah, hopefully you'll find this interesting, and if you do, you can look forward to some more videos on this stuff. I'll show you the programming environment called the integrated development environment. I don't have it loaded on my home computer here yet, but it's very straightforward, and then we'll try to make some neat stuff. So in any case, hope you find this interesting, and take care and talk to you later.